MIL got the boot. Wow, this post really took off. I wasn't expecting so much attention. Thanks for all the messages and comments, everyone. After everything that happened, my husband and I reached out to his sister, hoping she could take Mil in. We explained the situation, and after her initial shock and horror, SIL suggested, "You should ask her to pay you back. She's already received her stimulus money. She should have plenty." This was completely new information to us. SIL confirmed that MIL had indeed mentioned receiving the stimulus. That was it, I snapped. She moved into our home, freeloading off of us while fully aware that my husband and I were struggling financially due to the pandemic, and she's sitting on stimulus money and doing absolutely nothing? At that point, I was done. Indian cultural expectations about respecting elders be damned. I wanted her gone. My husband finally understood how serious I was and actually took action. To cut to the chase, my husband told her she needed to reimburse us for groceries and leave immediately. She fought back for hours, whining, "My son wouldn't throw me out, this must be your idea." My husband had reached his limit with her theatrics. He firmly told her that she either pays up and leaves, or the entire extended family would be informed of the exact reasons for her eviction. That threat finally got her to comply. But even then the drama wasn't over. While packing, she'd forget and wander around the house in her outdoor shoes or deliberately prop her shoe-covered feet up on my couch. For context, we have a no outdoor shoes inside rule, which is pretty common in our culture. The day before she left, I made paneer. The expression on her face when she realized I could whip up Indian food using just milk and lemon juice was absolutely priceless. It was a small victory in a week of stress. She finally left a few hours ago. We got our money back, and I'm already placing an Amazon order to replenish our supplies. I told my family what happened, and they're sending a care package with rice, flour, and my favorite spices to help us out until we can properly restock. I feel amazing. This is the most relaxed I've been in weeks. Peace and quiet have been restored. Oh, the audacity of MIL to have stimulus money while freeloading. It's the ultimate just no move. If you want more spicy takes on MIL madness, be sure to subscribe for more. Mil's dangerous help. She threw away my chemo. I'm dealing with a lot right now, and my mother-in-law's behavior is just piling on the stress. I'm battling cancer for the second time in my life. I was first diagnosed at 14, fought hard, and won. I enjoyed a happy, peaceful life until recently, when a routine health check for a new job revealed a shocking surprise. At 30 years old, I have cancer again. This time it's secondary cancer in a different organ and unrelated to the first. Fortunately, it's stage 2, but my oncologist warned me that it's aggressive, fast-growing, and spreading, and could quickly progress to stage 3 or beyond. We needed to act fast. Hearing you have cancer is always devastating, but for me, it felt like fate was really against me. I was heartbroken to face this battle again. It's an incredibly tough fight, both physically and mentally, as any cancer patient knows. I had surgery, and now it's time for chemotherapy. The doctors prescribed oral chemo that I can take at home, only needing to go to the hospital for blood tests and scans every few weeks, which is a huge relief as I wouldn't have the energy for daily hospital visits. I'm currently on sick leave from work, and the treatment has left me quite weak, and I've lost a significant amount of weight. Before all this, my wife and I shared household chores equally. Some days I feel better than others, but right after chemo, even simple tasks are often physically impossible. I try to do what I can, but my wife has been incredible. She doesn't mind at all that I can't help around the house as much as I used to. She just says, "Your only job right now is to focus on getting better." The other day, MIL came to visit. She knows about my diagnosis. I was resting on the couch reading, and my wife was doing chores around the house. Mil approached me and started in, "Look at you, lounging on the couch like you're on vacation. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? A grown man lying around in the middle of the day while your poor wife slaves away." I replied, "I just had chemo, I have a headache, I'm nauseous, I don't feel well." She scoffed, "A young man like you and you can't beat a little cancer? You can't cure yourself with those chemicals, only natural products work." Later that day, Emil was talking to my wife in the kitchen. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but I overheard their conversation. Mil was saying, "You really shouldn't let him take that poison he's taking or it will kill him. It's poison, that's why he feels so terrible. Doctors these days are completely clueless. You should look into herbal treatments instead." My wife thankfully quickly shut her down, telling her to stay out of things she knows nothing about, especially since MIL has no medical background whatsoever and acts like she knows everything. The next morning I went to take my chemo as scheduled. I take it once a day and I prefer to take it in the morning so I feel a bit better in the evening and can sleep better. But when I opened the bathroom cabinet, my chemo bottles were gone, completely vanished. I asked my wife if she had moved them and she said no. We looked around, but it was pointless because they couldn't have just fallen out of the cabinet. And we have no reason to hide them. We don't have kids or pets who could accidentally ingest them. Then, my wife remembered that just before leaving the day before, Mil had asked to use the bathroom. It clicked. She could have easily taken the bottles with her, especially considering her rant about chemo being poison. My wife transformed into a furious dragon. I've never seen her so angry. She got dressed and stormed out to Miles' house, practically spitting fire. About half an hour later, she returned and told me she had confronted Mil and demanded my medication back. Mil admitted she had taken my chemo and thrown it away after leaving our house. It's obviously gone for good. We can't search every trash bin in the city. The fact that she actually did it just blew my mind. My wife and Mil had a massive argument. Mil genuinely believed she did me a favor. She said things like, "No, don't you see he's dying? Don't you see how weak he's become? It's not the cancer killing him, it's those pills. I got rid of them, I saved your husband, and this is how you thank me by insulting me? You should go buy him some herbal teas." Because of Emil, I missed a dose of chemo, which is really bad, and I had to contact my oncologist immediately. When I told him I needed more chemo, he was surprised and asked, "What happened to the chemo I prescribed recently? You couldn't have used it all already." And I had to explain, "Well, doctor, you see my mother-in-law stole my chemo." He looked completely bewildered, as if the idea of someone stealing someone else's chemo was utterly absurd. He prescribed new chemo and a revised schedule, and now I keep it locked away in a cabinet. My wife has sworn that Emila will never set foot in our house again. Mil shows up after 25 years expecting grandma status. I'm a single dad, and I've raised my son on my own since he was just days old. His mother decided she wanted nothing to do with motherhood shortly after his birth. She said she wasn't ready to be a parent and refused to feed or even hold him. I was willing to give her time, thinking it might be postpartum depression or something similar, and I was ready to support her, but she was serious. She packed her bags and left the hospital, her last words being that she never wanted to see me or our son again. I haven't seen her since. I've always suspected my mother-in-law had something to do with it. Throughout the pregnancy, she constantly talked about how young her daughter was and how inappropriate it was for her to have a child at that time. I have no proof, but I can't shake the feeling that Emil secretly persuaded her to leave for some reason. So there I was, a 21-year-old left alone with a newborn. It was incredibly challenging. I had to drop out of college and work constantly to provide for my son. Thankfully, I wasn't completely alone. Kind people helped me through those initial difficult times, babysitting while I worked and offering advice on infant care. I'll be eternally grateful to them. As my son grew older, things became easier. He started kindergarten and I could work without relying on others for childcare. Throughout all this time, I held on to a sliver of hope that his mother would come around, that she'd eventually realize you can't just abandon your child like they're disposable. But despite leaving her my contact information, she never reached out. Not a call, not a letter, nothing. She never once exercised her right to visit him. When he was little, he often asked why his mother left him, why she didn't want him. I never knew how to answer, always trying to avoid speaking negatively about her in front of him. Now my son is 25 years old. He's a hard-working, well-educated young man, and I'm incredibly proud of him and of myself for raising him to be a good person. We stopped talking about his mother years ago. It was his decision. He essentially said, if she doesn't want to be part of our lives, it's her loss, and there's nothing we can do about it. Recently, MIL showed up at our doorstep. No call, no warning, just suddenly there to visit her grandson. I was stunned. At first, I barely recognized her, so many years have passed, and she acted as if she were a doting grandmother who regularly visits her grandchild, not someone absent for 25 years. When my son saw her, he didn't recognize her either. I had shown him pictures of his mother and grandmother just in case they ever appeared, but I never truly believed they would. She rushed over and hugged him like a loving grandmother would, gushing about how he's grown and how handsome he's become. He pushed her away, looking completely confused. I told him it was his grandmother who had unexpectedly come to visit, and he just said, "Oh," and walked away from her. Mil didn't take his reaction well at all. She turned to me and demanded, "What have you taught him if he can't even greet his grandmother properly?" He's looking at me like I'm a stranger. Haven't you told him about his mother and me? Shown him pictures? Well, technically, you are a stranger, Mil. He's never met you in person. Why are you so surprised? You appear out of nowhere after 25 years and expect him to greet you with open arms? It's delusional. My son spoke up. Dad did show me your picture, but I didn't need a picture. I needed you to be there for me. He was quite blunt with her, firing questions at her, and Emil's responses were incredibly narrow-minded, as if she never expected him to ask anything. He asked where his mother was, and Emil said, "Oh, she's doing wonderfully. She's living with a great man and has 2 lovely children. She's moved on from that little misunderstanding about your birth." She acted as if her daughter was the victim in all of this, as if we were the ones who abandoned her. He asked why his mother had abandoned him, and Emil said, well, she was such a young girl. It would have been crazy for her to have a child at that age. She had her whole life ahead of her, and a baby would have been an obstacle. You have to understand, she didn't want to lose her freedom. Honestly, her daughter was older than me when our son was born. She was 24. I don't think that's too young to have a child. It's not like she was a teenager. Actually, age has nothing to do with it. I could have given up my son too. I was very young as well. But I didn't because I loved him and wanted to be his father. At this point, I wanted to show Mil the door. She clearly wasn't welcome in our home. But my son stopped me. He had one more question. He asked why Mil didn't want to be his grandmother. His mother left him fine, in a terrible way, but why did Mael abandon him too? Mil replied, well, I didn't have time to take care of you. I was a young woman too. I had my own life. And grandchildren are only obligated to care for grandparents when they're old, and that's why I'm here. Then my son told her to leave and never come back. He said he never wanted to see her again and wouldn't help her with anything. As she was leaving, she lashed out at me, saying, that's what I expected. A man alone can't raise a proper human being. Such a rude and impolite boy. He would have been better off in an orphanage than with you. So, according to MIL, the takeaway is, don't have children when you're young, or if you do, feel free to abandon them, and then show up decades later expecting them to love you, even though you've never shown them any care. Seriously, what on earth was she expecting? Miles' cruel ultimatum after our house fire. I need to vent, so please bear with me, as this is going to be a long one. The past few months have been incredibly difficult. Towards the end of last year, we tragically lost our house in a freak accident. We lost almost everything we owned. It has been an unbelievably stressful period for my little family of 4. And we were at my child's school recital when we got a call from a neighbor. We rushed home to find our house engulfed in flames. The fire department did their best to salvage what they could, but the damage was devastating. Ultimately, we had to sell the property and relocate entirely because the cost of repairs was practically equivalent to rebuilding the entire house from the ground up. I've been married for a decade and my mother-in-law has never been fond of me. However, even with that history, I was completely unprepared for her behavior during this crisis. I naively believed that even if she personally disliked me, she would step up to help in our time of need, considering I am the mother of her 2 grandsons, the wife of her son, and someone who brings them happiness. I was so wrong. On the night of the fire, we desperately needed a temporary place to stay, just to catch our breath and figure out our next steps. My husband suggested we stay with his mother for the night. It was late, and it seemed like the most logical solution. We drove to her house, our boys half asleep in the back seat. We left them in the car while my husband and I went to speak to Emil to explain the horrific situation. Initially, she appeared sympathetic and said she was fine with my husband and my son staying, but declared that I would have to find alternative arrangements. My husband completely lost it. He started yelling at her, pointing out how utterly unreasonable she was being, but she wouldn't budge. She stated in no uncertain terms that I was not true family and that she had never approved of our marriage in the first place. Therefore, I was not her responsibility. We left her house and ended up spending the night in our car. The next day, we checked into a motel. She then started calling, repeatedly inviting us to stay again, graciously offering to let me stay in the garage for a few days. Again, we declined her generous offer. My husband told her how incredibly disrespectful she was being. My MIL's response was to become enraged, accusing us of spitting on her generosity. She then offered to take the boys in so they wouldn't have to stay in a motel while we tried to rebuild our lives. Once again, we refused her offer. After that, we didn't hear from her for a few days until we discovered through the grapevine that she had started bad-mouthing me to everyone she knew. She was spreading lies, claiming that I was tearing the family apart during this difficult time with my grudges. In her twisted version of reality, she had immediately opened her home to us, and I had heartlessly turned her down, forcing my husband and sons to live in a cheap motel simply because I disliked her. My husband immediately corrected the record with anyone who would listen, but Emil didn't let up. She actually filed an official complaint with the fire department, alleging that I had deliberately started the fire to destroy the house and create the current situation. She went as far as to say that I was a greedy gold digger who was after her house, and that the fire was all part of my elaborate plan to steal her home. I was understandably taken in for questioning due to the seriousness of her allegations. I fully cooperated and was quickly cleared of any wrongdoing, as the official investigation definitively concluded that the fire was accidental and there was absolutely no way it could have been intentionally started. Later, she even showed up at the burned out property while we were sifting through the wreckage, trying to salvage anything that was left. She made incredibly insensitive comments about how we shouldn't be so upset because they were just things. Yes, they were things, but they were our things, our memories. I wasn't just upset about losing the stove, the couch, and the beds. I was devastated by the loss of the handmade arts and crafts projects my sons had made for Mother's Day every year, the irreplaceable family heirlooms, and all the countless memories that were now turned to ash. The house itself was a fixer-upper when we bought it, and we had poured our hearts and souls into restoring it, doing much of the work ourselves to save money. My youngest son had a gaming console that he owned, which, coincidentally, had been left at our house before the fire. They had been visiting their father for a weekend and had taken the console to keep them entertained. When we asked about it, MIL flatly stated that she didn't have it, and that we must have taken it back with us. My son argued with her, reminding her that he had specifically told her he was leaving it there for the week so his cousin could use it while visiting. She gaslit him relentlessly to the point of tears, stubbornly insisting that we had taken it back and that it was probably lost in the fire. The truth eventually came out from other family members that Emil had given it away shortly after we had refused her initial conditional offer of hospitality. The only silver lining in this whole horrific ordeal is that this entire series of incidents has been the final straw for my husband. We have all gone no contact with her after these events and several others, and we cut off all communication with her shortly before moving into our new place. She's been trying to get our new address from other family members, but thankfully she hasn't succeeded yet. My husband has made it abundantly clear that he will not hesitate to cut off anyone else in the family who gives her our address or any other contact information. If she can't offer us support and compassion when we are at our absolute lowest, then she certainly doesn't deserve to be a part of our lives when we are at our best. A garage after a house fire, arson accusations, and she gave away the kids' game console. This MIL wrote the book on Just Know. Subscribe now for more tales of terrible MILs, and tell me in the comments, what's the most unbelievable thing your MIL has pulled? JNMIL is coming over, and we have a stripper pole. This is unfolding in real time, just sharing for fun, no advice needed, but always appreciated. This is actually happening right now as I type. I'm stuck at work until 2:30 and my boyfriend is home. His mother just texted him that she and Phil are dropping by at 2 p.m. with lunch. BF immediately texts me in all caps, "Honey, the stripper pole." So here I am at work, trying not to burst out laughing, picturing the absolute shock on their faces when they walk in, and the first thing they see is my beautiful, shiny stripper pole. Did I mention they are extremely Christian? Like, the judgmental kind. No offense to Christians in general, but I really dislike religious extremism, especially when people weaponize their faith to be hurtful. I texted him back, "Screw it, it's our house, they can deal with it. I will definitely keep you all updated. This is going to be interesting." Update 1, just a quick check-in to let you know I'm still alive and haven't been murdered yet. Haha. Just got off work and I'm heading home now. I texted my boyfriend earlier to see how things were going, but he hasn't replied or even read my message, so I have no idea what to expect. Stay tuned for more. Update 2. Oh my god, I'm typing this from the bedroom. Hiding. I just got home, opened the door, and Emil immediately confronts me. Tell me right now he's lying. Me, what? Mil, he said that he wants to be a Pierre. My boyfriend just completely loses it, turns beet red, and collapses into laughter. I'm just standing in the doorway, totally wide-eyed and confused. I manage to stammer out, he's kidding. I'm just gonna go change. And I practically sprint to the bedroom. I can still hear her out there grilling him about why we have it, and he's still cracking up. I wish I was quicker on my feet in those situations. More updates to come, update 3. Okay, I ventured out of the bedroom. MIL and FIL are just standing there, staring intently at the pole. The first thing MIL says is, if you're struggling financially, we can help you. You don't need to resort to this, it's disgusting. And BF shouldn't be encouraging it. Me, I'm not a stripper, we're doing fine financially, it's for exercise. Phil chimes in, then go for a run, that's a ridiculous excuse. There are so many other things you could do for exercise. BF, bless his heart, jumps in. Have you ever seen pole dancing competitions? It's not stripping, I promise. It's actually really athletic and cool. BF then proceeds to pull up a YouTube video of a pole dancing competition. Silence descends. Phil, what? Turns to me, eyes wide. Can you do that? Tommy, updating again soon. I think they might actually want to see me dance. This is getting wild. Last update. Okay, folks. This took a complete 180-degree turn, and honestly, it ended up being really fun. We actually took some time to talk about some past issues. I might make a separate post about that if I feel up to it. But for now, it seems like my in-laws are genuinely trying to apologize and make amends. After the initial shock and a few YouTube videos, they transformed into curious kids, completely fascinated by the possibilities of the pole. So, I showed them a few basic moves. Mill was shrieking with delight and was genuinely impressed. Then I bet I could do that. Q, Phil attempting to pole dance and actually kinda killing it, I might add. Mael was looking at him like he was a snack. It was hilarious. BF and Phil even got into a silly competition to see who could do the best tricks. After that, my BF brought out the VR headset, and we had them try out a bunch of scary games and other video games. When they finally left, they told us they had a really great time. I'm still a little wary, but they were completely different people today compared to how they've been in the past. We both get the feeling that they're genuinely trying to change. I think my BF finally putting his foot down with them might have finally gotten through their thick skulls that their actions were damaging their relationship with us. We're cautiously optimistic. Thank you all for following along and for all the enthusiasm. It really made me smile. Stripper pole intervention turned family bonding session. This JustNoMIL story took a wild turn. For more hilarious and unbelievable MIL moments, be sure to like and subscribe, and have a fantastic day, everyone.